Hello, everybody, and welcome to Afternoon Astonishments. My name is Alex, and I'm here with Steve. I'm here with Adam. I'm here with Aaron. It's the whole gang here. We're going to have a great time looking at some magic videos of the past. Make sure you do us a favor. Hit follow, hit subscribe. That way you know every time we go live with a new one of these shows. And today, we're going to look at the classic magic of Roger Klause. How's it going, Aaron?
So excited about Roger Klause. You and I used to spin Klause stories all night long. We used to do his voice. We used to have a lot of fun.
It's really true. I'm a super fan. As much as he was my teacher, I'm a super fan. I think he's one of the greats and changed my life. The man changed my life. He really, in a lot of ways, gave me the keys to the kingdom of magic, and I'm forever indebted to him. He's wonderful.
It's very exciting. Perhaps while we get along here, Alex will tell stories of roommating with Roger Klause. When you roommate with a master magician at a convention, you not only see his underwear, but you're privy to his real unfiltered reviews of what's happening in the
it was pretty remarkable. Yeah, no doubt. He's well, it's funny. He when I first met him, I met him because I was pretty tight in this community that was putting on this convention here in Sacramento. And at the beginning of it, it's Northern California. A lot of the people were coming from the Magic Castle up here because it's a short drive. So there was a lot of huge names that were just hanging out as registrants at these conventions that were happening in my town. And they sort of became like Magic College to me. And I knew Roger because of the company that was putting on the thing. And I sort of met him before the convention. And he was like, "I got you, kid. I'm going to help you out." And he said, "Make sure you bring my book." I brought my book to the convention, and he literally took me around the convention with this book like it was a high school yearbook. And this book is signed. I wrote down the names I could find. It's signed by Roger, of course, with a beautiful personal note, and then notes from Michael Skinner, Larry Jennings, John Cornelius, and John Carney, because they were just there. And Roger saw that I was a young guy in magic, and he saw it as an opportunity to break the ice with these guys he knew I was going to care about. And he just sort of opened the door for me to have a talking relationship and sort of a friendship with these guys that, led to me learning more and more magic. But it was, Roger really opened up that door for me and let me see that it was, people are people, right? And I could just get to the level of knowing them as humans, so I could then get on to talking about magic. But what a gift. What a wonderful gift.
I like him, or I don't know Roger Klause, obviously, but I like him already just from that story, to take you around and introduce you to people. I mean, most people go to a magic convention and no one wants to tell them anything. You know what I mean?
That's right. And the other thing is you have to learn etiquette. Like Roger was one of the first guys to me that as a young man gave me this little simple etiquette rule, but I didn't know it. I was just a young guy getting into magic, and it was this, he saw me interacting with people, and he said, "Hey man, don't ever ask anybody how they do anything. That's not cool." In magic, if someone wants to tell you how they did something, they will totally tell you. Otherwise you need to just be there and listen to what they have to say, because generally if you're hanging out with a group of magicians, people are going to say things that are going to change your point of view on magic. But let them tell the story they want to tell. When you start asking people for, their trade secrets and things that they've built, it's like you're asking them for the secret recipe, and it's not cool. And I didn't know it wasn't cool. I was just a kid who bought a bunch of magic products and found my way into a convention. I didn't know the difference, but to hear that and recognize, oh, wow, I was looking at this like these guys are just here for products. And I didn't, look at it like this is an artistic endeavor. And it's like I'm asking this guy to just give me his art rather than respect him for the artist that he is, and it opened my, like I said, it opened my eyes and opened my mind in ways that I couldn't see coming, and I needed a guy like that to sort of say, "Hey kid, listen, this is the way it is."
That's a great point. That just, it's like unspoken etiquette, like almost forgotten etiquette at this point. The way people are with magic and looking up on their phones right away and stuff. It's like back in the day, I remember that, when I was like 15 or 16. I remember somebody said that to me, and that's actually the way it should be.
It's important. It's important.
Yeah, it is. It's an artistic,
especially when you're trying to keep the lineage up of what magic is, right? Like we love this art, and the reason we love it is because of things like that are intact in different areas. And it's, it's a beautiful, mysterious art that's going to stay mysterious because we're all keepers of it, and that's it's an important thing that could easily just be overlooked.
Yeah.
So why don't we take a look at I'm sorry, Aaron, please.
I'm just saying he loved you, because that happens to you all the time at magic conventions, for you to actually like a kid enough and feel like he's sensitive enough and listening enough that when you tell him something like that, he's going to go, hey, thanks. You know, he must have really, he decided to take a shine to you, you know, because a lot of kids don't react so well to hearing that kind of stuff, you know, and a lot of people don't tell him so nice.
That's right. That's right. And it was the beginning of more to come, you know, because he was working with that company that put on those conventions. So he was coming to town every 6 months, you know, every year or something. And at a certain point, he was coming and making videos with Michael Skinner, you know, and Michael Skinner was in town too. And, you know, it was just a whole thing. I mean, I just got to be close to this fire, and it was beautiful. So let's do this. Let's watch some magic from Roger. I know we're, you know, talking so much about how wonderful he was as a human, but let's see some of the magic. Let's get this first one. This was one of the first pieces that I learned from Roger. And it's one of those things that's lives in my bag now, because there's always just an opportunity for this to come up where you might need something like this. It's a wonderful piece. You've probably seen a version of it. I think Roger has probably one of the tightest handlings of this trick, based on the sort of technology we'll get into of what Roger really brought to magic. And yeah, let's have a look at this, and we'll talk on the other side.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I like to start off each performance by, well, showing you how a simple magic trick is accomplished. Now, it's an old trick, but it's a good trick. As a matter of fact, this is the trick I had the pleasure of performing for the Queen of England. Well, I mean, she said she was the Queen of England. What she actually said was, Roger, if you're a magician, yeah. But it's a simple trick. All we use is a little pocket handkerchief, just like this. Now, the handkerchief goes in white like this, and comes out a beautiful, yet rumpled shade of red. Goes in white and comes out red. A little more white, out comes a little more red. And as I said, I will be teaching you exactly how to do this trick, if I hear enough applause. Oh, that's just enough. Thank you very, very much. You see, the secret is that I don't have just one handkerchief. That's right, I have two. Two handkerchiefs. That's how the trick's done. Well, that's it. Oh, okay, let me take this a step further. You see, I have the red handkerchief, and over here in my left hand, well, of course, that's where I keep the white one. Two handkerchiefs. You see, before the show, when I was over there in the corner, that's when I took the opportunity to hide this red handkerchief secretly in my left hand. Now, you don't let anyone see you do this. You get it all the way in the top, don't let it poke out the bottom. Now all you have to do is walk out with that white handkerchief, and you're ready to do the trick. Oh no, no. Never open this hand. If you do, you spoil the trick. You have to keep that hand closed. Now all you do is take that white handkerchief, push it right in the top like that, and pull out that red one you just put there. Any questions? So you keep pushing the white one in, pulling the red one out, pushing the white one in, pulling the red one out, till the white one's all the way inside and the red one's all the way out. Now, if anyone should ask you about this white handkerchief, you simply blow on it like that, have it slowly disappear, and that's a little trick with a handkerchief. I thought someone might enjoy that.
Classical piece, very wonderful. You know, while we were watching this, I remembered seeing Roger do this on stage. And I remembered a show, and I'm sure it's because of Roger and because of the situation I was in. I was like 19, and I got to work this gig that I probably shouldn't have been able to work. It was a re-election campaign for the district attorney in Sacramento. And there were some guys that were with that company that were juiced in enough that they said, hey, why don't you do this magic show? There's going to be guys around. You could join the show. And basically they were looking for a couple of close-up magicians, and I got tapped to be one of the close-up magicians. So I did close-up walk around at this party that had a stage show that was Mike Maxwell was the MC. Then it was Roger Klause. Then it was Tom Mullica. And then Jeff Hobson closed the whole thing.
Yeah. So that's you had a pretty hard night.
Well, it was an education in so many ways, you know, and seeing that trick personified, because I'd been working on it and seeing the reactions and seeing the whole thing live and breathe. It just reminded me, you know, that was when I really started to learn the trick. You know, when I saw him really do it and saw the reactions he was getting from it and realized that's a piece that's within my grasp that could lead me to being able to stand on that platform. You know what I mean?
Here we go.
So I was close up, only close up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and here's what's great here about this trick, okay? Simple objects, carry it in your pocket, can do it anywhere, surroundable. I mean, this is a gold mine to have in your pocket. You know, you put a good routine with it and you could do it. I mean, that's what I always look for. I look for stuff you can just do anywhere.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
Anywhere.
Yep.
And that trick fits any audience. You can play it anywhere. And his handling is just so direct. And it's just...
You know, that probably leads right into the conversation of what Roger really, one of the big things he's famous for in Magic is this idea of half moves, right? Like a lot of times when you see a sleight written in a book or, you know, a secret move has to be done, it's just you go for it, you get it done and it's over, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing that Roger really brought to the table was that he found ways presentationally to do half the move and be ready to go as you pick up the conversation. And as you're gesturing, you can finish the move rather than going all in one and being done. It was a way to break up actions so that you can basically have it seem a little bit more, I guess, seamless, right? There's just less to notice of things that would be going on because it's so integrated into the actions by making those secret moves be part of the gestures and the things that you're doing in terms of presenting, right? I mean, we're all trying to do that at a certain point as magicians, but I think at the time that Roger really was introducing this ideas, it was an innovative idea. I think now it's sort of been folded into the batter, right? We're all looking for ways to do this half move thing. But
yes, right.
When I was a young man, like that blew my mind as a new way to look at things, and being able to sit with Roger and talk with him about things and see how a half move could improve something, you know, again, just another thing to just open your mind and your eyes to a new way of being. And, you know, Roger was that to me, you know?
Yeah, it seems to me like, you know, a trick like this is something I've seen hundreds and hundreds of times. Color changing silk, you know?
Yeah, no doubt.
And I feel like we sometimes think because it's old, it's lost its power, but it is such a great trick. It's visual. You know, you can play it anywhere. That's the thing, you know. It's magic that can play anywhere. And you know, having a bunch of that stuff in your case is just, I'm telling you. I mean, that's how I think of it, because all I think about is gonna have to go out and work someplace and do it, you know.
Totally. Well, classics are classics for a reason. You know, I used to sort of get down on it because, you know, as a beginning magician, you want what's new, you know, and I'm sure it's true of everything, you know, in the beginning, like probably even playing music, you want all the newest music. You don't want to go back. And it's only until you burn out and see what what's happening today that you can then look back and see what came before and why it exists like this today. And, you know, in Magic, for me, once I started to see that, you know, you see that the classics are classics for a reason. It's not a joke. You know, these things are tried and true, and they get it done every time you pull those things out. And this is one of them. This is totally a classic of Magic. And every time you pull this thing out, you get gasps and you get everything you want out of a magic trick out of this piece. And it's got that added benefit of this one is like you're sort of, you know, pulling back the curtain and letting them in on a secret, even though you're not really letting them in on a secret. And that's, you know, that's kind of fun. I like that presentation. I've always thought that was a neat idea. So just a winner. Just a winner.
Just a winner.
So let's look at this next one. This next one is something that another one that Roger was famous for. When I first met Roger, this was a trick he did for me. And I don't know if it was this method. He's got several methods for this thing. And this one, I think, is by far his most deceptive method for this effect. You'll see it makes your eyes pop out of your head. There's even like a disclaimer on there, like this is not a camera trick, you know. It's just a great walk around piece that you can do anywhere, anytime. And again, it's another classic of Magic, but Roger really loved this thing and he improved on the method several times, like I said. So let's take a look at this one. This is fun.
Look great.
Thank you.
So night out with the girls?
Yes.
All right. And what are you doing? Out for a couple of drinks or so?
Yeah, we're going to have a couple of drinks, have a good time.
All right. as usual, I guess you need a couple of dollars.
Oh, that would be lovely.
All right, what'd you do with the money I promised you last week?
I promised it to somebody else.
Oh, okay, you're always a step ahead of me. Let's see, how about, will $20 do?
I was hoping for a little bit more.
A little more than 20.
Yeah.
21?
A little more.
26?
How about that 100?
The 100.
Yes. I'm a big tipper.
Oh, I forgot. Big tipper. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a chance to win the 100. How would that be?
Okay. Okay.
Now, look, I have a $1 bill, yes?
Yes.
And I have a $5 bill.
Look at that.
Yes.
Okay, hang on to the 5 for a moment.
All right.
Now, I'm going to fold the money, but not so small you can't keep your eye on it, all right?
Okay.
There's the 1.
Yes.
I'll fold the 5 the very same way. And we'll play a little guessing game.
Okay.
In other words, I'll give you a bill, either the 5 or the 1, and you try to guess which one I gave you.
Okay.
All right, hold out your right hand,
Okay.
just like a maitre d'. Let's turn your hand over this way. So when I give you either the 5 or the 1, close your little hand into a fist, all right?
Okay.
Here we go. Hang on. Which one do you think I gave you?
The 1?
Yeah, you know me quite well, don't you? It's not
Oh.
that I don't trust you with the 5, but here's the game. I'm going to sneak the $1 bill out of your hand.
Okay.
I'll do it so quickly you won't see it happen. At the same time, though, I'll sneak the 5 inside. Hang on tight.
Okay.
5 goes in, the 1 comes out, and you lose the 100, okay?
Uh-oh.
If I can do that. Watch, right to the back of your pretty hand. Just to press like this. The 1 came out, just like I promised. There's the 1.
No, please.
Open your hand. Let's see if you have that 5. Open it up.
I have it.
There's that 1. Let me see the 5.
Yes.
And it looks like I win. And I get to keep the 100.
Oh, that's great.
All right, good. Well, have a nice time with the girls.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey.
It's like he forgot at that moment it was his wife, and he went to shake her hand and said, "No, I mean a kiss."
Hey. Hubba hubba. Yeah,
And,
that's
you know,
a great little thing, you know.
And not only that, Wanda is great too. Wanda was
Is that
really,
who that is?
That's his wife, Wanda,
Mhm.
and Wanda is a wonderful woman. She was really, really as kind to me as Roger was. It was like they were, you know, it was like I was an adopted son. They were just really, really nice to me.
And
really
they lived
kind
in
to me.
Sacramento?
No, they live in Texas. They live in
Oh.
Texas, or they lived in Texas. In Borger, Texas is where Roger was from. And really, my relationship with Roger was him coming here to do magic work,
Right.
seeing him at events, at conventions, and so forth. And then we would correspond. Like I have letters, you know, like he would write me letters, and he would,
Right.
it was like old school, like the things he was working on, and here's some thoughts for you, kid, and that kind of stuff, you know. And then we would see each other at other events. And the one time I really got to spend a lot of time with Roger was there was an IBM convention in Los Angeles, and it was my first IBM convention. I'd never been to one. Like I had no idea how big they were, you know, had no idea like the scope of it. Like it's every kind of magic, and like, you know, like the conventions I'd been to was like few hundred people, 500 people at the most. Like those are like 1,500, 2,000 people, right? That's just a lot of people in every kind of magic. And I, you know, it sort of blew my mind. But we were there because he had shot videos with Michael Skinner later in Michael's life when Michael wasn't as well. There was a last ditch effort to try to document some of the material just so it was, you know, there for future generations.
Mhm.
And there was a 4-volume set of Skinner that was shot, and Roger was the host of that. And
I remember.
Michael was not well enough to be at the convention, but Roger was. And Roger and I were there with Mike Maxwell running a booth, selling these videos. And Roger was, you know, signing autographs and taking pictures. But we shared a hotel room. So after the convention was over, you know, we would go to the hotel room, and it was like session all night long with this master. And, you know, and he would help me with my routines, the things I was working on. He'd show me the stuff that he did and things that he was working on. And it was, you know, again, just another level of education that went along with all the other things that this great man taught me, you know. And it was, yeah, time of my life. It changed my life in a lot of ways. And hearing some of, you know, like the stories that are not to be shared in polite company about Michael Skinner and like Diverne, and like some of the dirtier stories that they're just the ones that are like they're told in hushed tones, like in the after hour parties. It's just interesting.
Those were always where the fun is.
Yeah, no doubt. But this trick, this
great trick.
The bill transposition is again another classical piece of magic, and Roger had several methods for this, and this one is by far the cleanest one that I saw of all the ones he did, because you can literally have the unblinking eye of the camera look at it and you have no idea what's going on. It's pretty fabulous. It's one that's worth looking into. And in fact, if you're a CC member, make sure you go and look in the back room. There's a bill transposition. I'm pretty sure there's an AP that I did on that, but there's probably a finer points as well where I talk about a little bit of this one, but I also have another very practical method that you could easily pick up. So I highly recommend you check that out. So having said that, let's move into another trick that Roger was sort of famous for. And you'll see that this one's sort of comical because the spectator he has is a little bit taller than he is. And Roger was famous for, he's a shorter guy, and he's famous for like sort of placing the spectators where he wanted them to make things happen. I remember witnessing this firsthand, like when first time I saw him do close-up magic in like a random moment. He literally would grab the people that are like, a couple feet taller than them, grab them by the shoulders and scoot them to where they need to be so they can trick the way he wants to do it. And it's amazing. Like he doesn't care who you are, where you're from, how big or small you are, he's gonna fool you. And this trick is one of those ones that he would bust out to really get people. And I think this is just a great take on a classical piece of magic. It's a real fooler. If you haven't seen this one before, it might actually get you. This is a good one.
Oh my gosh.
Peggy, have you ever heard the expression, the hand is quicker than the eye? I think that accounts for some of the black eyes you see these days. Well, I think that's the theory behind it anyway. I asked a lady the other evening, I said, do you believe the hand's quicker than the eye? She said, well, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm still thinking about that. With your kind assistance, I'd like to try the world's fastest sleight of hand trick in slow motion. We'll just use the little red ball, all right? Just the little red ball. Nothing else. Now, watch. On the count of 3, the ball will disappear from my fingertips. That's 1, 2, 3, gone. Did you see it go up the sleeve?
No.
No. Not mine. Yours. Check your right sleeve. Take a look inside. Do you see it in there anywhere?
No.
Well, sometimes it gets stuck. Let me see if I can help you there. Oh, I see a little red right back there. Let me reach in there. Oh, there it comes, right out of the lining. Your coat hasn't been hurt. Hold that right up. You carry any other weird things in there?
No.
Just the sponge. Isn't that amazing?
That is. It's great.
Isn't that amazing?
How did you do that?
Well, I'll show you again. Watch.
Okay.
1, 2. Well, I'll tell you what. Look, hold out your sleeve, and I'll show you exactly how this happens, how it jumps from here all the way up your sleeve like that. Okay? This time I'm going to make it a little more difficult. Take your other hand, reach over like this, hold onto your sleeve so nothing can get in or out, all right? Okay, just the sponge ball, nothing else. 1, 2, 3. Take it out and take a bow. And let's have a nice hand for Peggy. There she is. Thank you very much.
Cool, right?
Yeah.
Just a cool sponge ball trick.
It's like a cool sponge ball trick,
Yeah.
Without all the decoration, it's just very you and them. I love it. And
you get a complete. I love the complete vanish. That's a real deceptive thing. A lot of times, there's a lot of dancing that goes on after that moment with the sponge ball, and that's as clean.
I like
as
the
you
way
can
he's
get.
going about it. I like the way he's going about it. Very classical, direct, something everybody can do.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. If you've been in magic long enough, you probably figured out what's going on there by the end. But it's really
But
deceptive.
it doesn't matter, because here's what's great about it. It's on the spectator, right? It's about the interaction between you and them. It's not just something you watch. It's a really great trick. Great routine.
And as a spectator, you're in a different seat because it's happening right there in your eyes, right? You're watching this thing happen, and when it starts going to your body, I think that's it's almost like a reset button's being pressed. Like you can't follow anything when they go, okay, now check your sleeve, or I'm going to reach in your sleeve. It's like, everything sort of freezes, and you're in a different headspace than you were if you were just watching a vanish of a ball and you weren't really interactive with it. I think it's like a discombobulation occurs, you know.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Great thing.
Very smart. So I saved this this best one, this last one for the last, because I think it's sort of the best one. This is one, or at least one of my favorites. I think that this has got to be one of the best handlings that there is of this trick. I don't want to say what it is. You should just watch it. But I'm a super fan of this trick. This thing is sort of hidden in print in the 80s. And when it was put in print, is like it vanished, like it never existed. And it's, you know, for those that know, you know, but this is just a wonderful, wonderful piece of magic. Can be done really close up and, you know, literally under the spectator's noses. It's really a great piece of magic. Let's check it out.
Simple mystery with a couple of coins. Copper, silver. Kennedy on one side, Marilyn Monroe on the other. Copper, silver. They say that two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. I think it's only a theory. I think it's only a theory. The object is have the coins change places right before your very eyes. If you don't have very eyes, it's going to happen anyway. Silver to this hand, the copper will go here. Watch. Not yet. Oh, you- We have to touch the thumbs the traditional way, yes? Done. Now the hard part, no, we're not going to go that route. One guy giving me the claps. What do you think of that? Look. What was here? Ah, yes. Our friend, the silver, is here. And the copper is here. Thank you very much. My friend Michael Skinner was wont to say, lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. I'll attempt the same effect, this time in slow motion. I did that. Hi, Michael. So let's refer to the silver coin as the sun, and the copper, the dark moon. Slow motion. The sun and the moon. The sun sinks slowly in the west, rises in the east, then the moon comes up.
It's as clean as that effect can be, man. It's so good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Great.
Yeah, I love it. So that thing was hidden in print. It was in a magazine, basically, like in the 80s, right? An underground magic magazine, but it was in a magazine, put in print. It wasn't in Roger's book. It was sort of just like, you know, left to history. And it was funny because that particular presentation was like maybe 30 years later after it had been in print, 25 years later, and he came to a convention and did that thing, and, you know, ripped everyone's heads off with that. And it was as if it was a new trick because the thing had basically, like I said, been lost because it was in print. What's the old adage? If you want to hide something, put it in print.
Yeah, really, put it in a book. Yeah. Right? If you want to hide it, put it in a book.
It's called it's the French phrase of sun and moon is what the title is. You can find that if you're, well, some of you might actually have this. It's in Richard's Almanac. There was that big white book called the Collected Almanac.
Oh, I've got it right there.
Yeah, it's in that. It's in there. If you go dig in there, you'll find it. Go look up Roger Klause in there. You'll find it. And you'll be very, very pleased. You have to collect some things. It's not as straightforward as it seems. You definitely need specialized apparatus to make that happen. It doesn't seem like there would be anything, but there is a little bit of something that you need, and it's not as easy to get as you would think. But
is that right?
It is killer. It is so killer. It is one of the best versions of that trick that I've ever seen, and I've studied that trick a lot. I love it. So yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, maybe we can talk about this one on the after show. We can talk about what's going on there a little bit at least. And yeah, There it is. So yeah, Roger again. I love Roger. He was just super kind to me. He really sort of illuminated the path of being a magician for me in ways that would not have been illuminated if it wasn't for him. And I owe a lot to Roger. I really respect the man, and he was just super kind to me. He turned me on to the history of magic and made me fall in love with it in a way that probably wouldn't have happened otherwise. So for that, I mean, really, I owe the guy, because he's the reason I have all these books, because I could really understand why all that stuff is beautiful because of that guy. He was just super kind, and just he saw a guy in need that could use the knowledge that he had, and he just freely shared it with me so that I could be on the same page with him and be having the same conversation with him. And what a kind gesture, and what a kind thing, and it just kept on coming. What a kind man. And in a lot of ways, it taught me how to be in life, and how to just be with other people and how to be kind. And a lot of great lessons, man.
It's nice when people have nice stories about people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. Because it could be the opposite. Because I've definitely heard the opposite of stories with Roger, that people that they had the opposite experience to what I had.
Yeah.
And I understand. I mean, I was just totally right place at the right time, and had the right energy at the right time, and
I think that's it. That's a lot of it right there.
Yeah.
So he did pass away, right? When?
He's passed. Yeah, he has passed now. Yeah.
How long ago? Long?
Oh boy, I would rely on the members to wiki that, because that's been a while. I would say it's at least 10 years now, 12 years, but I'm guessing. I don't remember.
Yeah. Right.
To me, he's still whispering in my ear and telling me things. When I read his book or I see any of his stuff, it's like he's continuing the conversation. It's become that to me. Pretty beautiful. So yeah, lovely. I love Roger Klause. He was
great.
Just a wonderful man, wonderful magic. And go look for more. I encourage you to go find his book. His book is it's wonderful. It's called In Concert. A lot of great showpieces in here. A lot of the stuff's just not on video. You just have to use your imagination and read the book. I recommend you check it out, though. It's really good stuff. But having said that, I want to say thanks for joining us today. Make sure you do the right thing. Go follow, go subscribe. That way every time we go live with another one of these, which is going to be in a couple days. So we'll see you all soon. Thanks again. Bye, everyone.